we engaged in a year-long audit through a DEI lens that really allowed us to do some critical discovery work across every department and division of our school community. And from that, it caused us to think about in what ways do we want to develop a dashboard of sorts that allows us to really monitor and track how we are progressing in some prioritized areas. Human resource was one of those prioritized areas. One, because again, just coming back to the notion of having a department that is central and focused on, equal employment opportunity, how we are engaged in our recruiting efforts, who we're looking for as it relates to our mission, and who is aligned with the mission that we are set forth to live out every single day in their principle of practice, was critically important. And then as we interview and hire those individuals and retain them, what keeps them here? And a lot of that narrative is often about the mission, but we didn't want that to just be narratives that we were pulling out of the air. We actually wanted to be able to have both some quantitative and qualitative data that gives us some indicators around, do we notice or see disparities in our efforts as it relates to recruitment, hiring, and retention. And so Rebecca and her team have been instrumental in really thinking about what kind of HRIS, human resource information system, is necessary for us as a school to have with confidence will give us the data that we need to continue to monitor the health and well-being of our school as it relates to some of those components. I'll pause there because I said a lot, but Rebecca, please.
No, that was beautiful, as per usual. So what I would say added to that for the HR professionals listening or people that have a little bit more experience in that area, the way we are able to support that initiative is specifically around the people side and being able to understand the analysis of different demographical areas and supporting the ease of access, the consistency of good data for one thing, and that we continue to build on that moving forward and have those regular check-ins with Marlo and her team about what areas we need to look at as is appropriate and how we can build out, being able to cross-section out and identify areas for improvement or areas for celebration as well. I can say, data can be surprising in both ways. It's not all about corrective action. Sometimes it's about validating the effort in the work that we're putting forth. And so a lot of strategy around the analysis piece and supporting the actual effort there for Marlo and her team is really how we've aligned on that project.
And one of the initiatives, in terms of where we currently are, I think, we as a school, similar to many schools, have a long history of capturing demographic information as it relates to ethno-racial identity, gender identity, and I think we're getting better in how inclusive we are around our language when we are collecting that voluntary information from individuals. And yet, I think one of the initiatives here is really to have an understanding as well around professional growth. So many individuals are interested, right? What keeps people at times in institutions or schools like ours is, where's the opportunity for professional growth? What does leadership development look like? Where are my opportunities? And it doesn't always come by virtue of, title or position, but when we do have title and position and internal growth of that nature, how are we tracking that? And then through a DEI lens, how are we disaggregating that information to see if we have any disproportionate information that tells us something about how we make decisions as it relates to professional growth. And that's where we currently are in terms of building out our HRIS system that will give us that information so that we can at some point report out more transparently to the community what job growth, professional growth looks like internally here at GDS.